it's Brandy from Brandy Burrow Astrology, back with Ellie Adams to discuss more astrology. This is not so much forensic on this one. It's more natal, solar arc. What's happening for President Joe Biden? And so got Ellie here to discuss all these charts and kind of see what's going on. Thanks for coming, Ellie.
Yeah. Thanks for having me on to discuss this, because this, we're coming up on election season in a little over a year. Or really, I guess election season starts earlier than than on election day, but we're
starting, yeah. So we're recording this on September 13th, 2023. So a year and less than 2 months. So about 14 months-ish to the 2024 election. We've had some Republican debates already starting, and
those are like, just to throw this out there, the debates are like my favorite form of reality TV. Oh my God, I'm so excited about it.
They are always a shit show, and yeah, you sit there with the popcorn, and I mean, you guys have probably figured it out. I'm kind of political. I have strong opinions, and no, I love watching that stuff and just, laughing, going, oh my God, people are crazy.
Yeah, for real.
But I love the way, because you texted me, you said, hey, the ultimate reality TV. And I was like, oh my God, that's right.
It is.
Ellie nailed it. It's like reality watching, right?
It is. It's like the greatest reality TV show in the world.
Yeah. It's so we got this rolling. Joe Biden has pretty much said he's running.
Yes.
Although it doesn't feel very campaigny.
No.
And yeah, so there's a lot of discussion as far as should he run again? Should someone challenge him? I don't know. We'll look at Biden's charts and kind of see. I have me and you both, I think, have opinions of what's happening for Biden and wise and all this. So yeah, we'll share our thoughts.
Okay.
Yeah, should we start with his birth chart?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. Give me a second. I have so many charts opened on my screen. This is going to be a shit show in itself, trying to make sure I get the right. Jeez. Okay, let's see if this is it.
Yes.
Okay, I know you guys can see it. Give me a minute so I can pop it in front of my face to see it, because I'm not seeing it yet.
Oh, you don't see it?
Well, I have so much open on it's hiding. Here it is. I know, that's what I'm saying. I'm a mess over here. Okay, so Joe Biden's chart. Let me see if I can expand it just a bit. There we go. And me and my whole sign houses. I have this one generated whole sign. Thanks for reading this with me, Ellie.
Oh yeah, sure. I do not discriminate.
It's a different language, right? It's my language I speak. But no, and all house systems have validity. I just really enjoy the whole sign, and that's my jam. Yeah. So what stands out to you, Ellie, about this birth chart?
All that stuff in the 12th house.
Yes.
It's a stacked ass 12th house.
It is, right? I mean, you got Sun, you got Venus, you got Mercury, you got Mars. And here's the thing about this. If we're looking at chart rulers, Venus is going to rule 2 houses. Mercury is going to rule 2 houses. Mars is traditionally going to rule 2 houses. And you got the Sun ruling 1. So we automatically got 7 houses of this chart that go back to the 12th house.
Yes. Yeah. Which, I think that could maybe play in a little bit with how he comes off sometimes.
Yeah. And that upsets me about when, I'm not how he gets really discriminated. People say
he gets ragged on a lot.
He gets ragged on. That's a good way to put it. And especially about speech and fun words. That upsets me, because I'm the guy's got Mercury in the 12th house. He had I guess he still does. He has a stuttering condition that he's learned to, I'm sorry, my words aren't coming to me this morning, but so when he stumbles on these words, it kind of upsets me when people rag on him, because I'm look, he's got a 12th house Mercury. Give the guy a break.
And not only that, it's in Scorpio, which makes him perhaps a little more private with what he says. You know what I'm trying to say, or not? Yeah.
Mercury Scorpio is interesting because it can be it can be sharp. It can be a sharp tongue. And and it can also try to, it's a little secretive, right?
A little bit more. Yeah, a little bit more private, secretive, even hidden. I know I've got a Scorpio Mercury myself.
I'm an expert right here.
But yeah, I bet he does work very hard and has to try to make those sorts of communication differences not as apparent, even if this is unconscious working. You know what I mean? Like, because this is a 12th house, it might not be completely conscious that he's really trying to do that, but
right. Yeah, absolutely agree with that. And 12th house is also loss. And the guy has experienced tragedy and loss in his life. And it is interesting on his natal chart that the 5th house of children planet rulers in the 12th, the 7th house of marriage, that rulers in the 12th. He lost his wife and a child in a horrific accident decades ago. And that doesn't mean everyone that has these placements in 12th house are gonna experience loss in that same way, but it's interesting that it shows up on his chart this way.
Yeah, it is. And I'm also, just to deviate for just a second, though, it kind of ties in with the relationship thing, is that the Venus squaring, and the Sun squaring the nodes. The Venus node, I mean, I think relationships there's always something kind of you got Venus squaring.
Yeah,
they're always kind of, there's always something kind of difficult.
There's going to be lessons within relationships.
Yeah, and
yeah, because you get the nodes involved, and you get a hard aspect like a square with like Venus. That's, I always take the evolutionary approach with the North and South nodes. So to me, that's like, okay, there's something karmic here, or balancing, or learning certain lessons. And Venus is in Scorpio, another sign of sometimes loss. So yeah, it's, you see this, his story, you're looking at the astrology, and I'm like, damn, this guy is like still standing. Like,
yeah.
It's interesting too that North node in Virgo, in that 10th house, I like to look at it like the karmic direction. I need to like study up more on him. I do wonder where he was at, like at the beginning of adulthood, like what was his plans of what he wanted to do in life? Because it seems like it probably was awkward getting in the public eye.
Yes, but I also feel like at the same, with that Sun squaring it was like there was a quote supposed to, like, but maybe a reluctance,
awkward, but awkward growth to get there. But but it being maybe fated or
necessary. Oh shit! Sorry, some stupid thing just beeped.
Oh, I didn't even hear it. You're good. Usually that's me. I forget to shut down my email and my text, and you hear dinging when I'm recording. But now he's got a pretty strong moon at 0 degrees Taurus. Opposing his sun by sign. He does seem to come off as very like he's real sweet with his grandkids. Like, there has been like talk that he's a little sweet with people. I'm going to say it's a Taurus moon at 0 degrees. I don't know.
It could be. It could be.
Yeah. I know. You shouldn't even like go there. I personally just feel like he's just a sweet person. I don't know. Never mind. I'm not even gonna go there. I just know there's been some like comments made. You know, like the younger generations think, you know, oh my God, that's completely inappropriate. I don't, you know. Anyway.
Yeah, I mean, and it, in some cases it perhaps could be. I don't necessarily think he means it that way, though. I think he's probably unaware.
That's me. That's where I'm at with it. Yeah. Not to excuse it. Yeah. Like, yeah, don't send me a bunch of comments saying, hey, yeah, we're just discussing what's said about him, what's in the chart.
Yeah. And how he might kind of be wired.
Yes. Personality. Now it is interesting. His chart ruler, which, you know, he's Sag rising. So his chart ruler would be that Jupiter in Cancer in the 8th house. How do you think that displays in his life?
Well, I think they're probably, I think it could also tie back to you got the chart ruler in the 8th house. The 8th house is more secretive, more hidden. I think there probably is stuff about him that he doesn't, and not I'm not talking bad things, just things that he probably doesn't want out there.
Yeah. He's kind of like a privacy thing.
Yeah. Yes. I don't think that always works real well with that sun squaring the nodes, but I think there are things that he, you know, I think he is probably a more private person.
That's got to be difficult because it's in such, you know, an expansive planet in a sign with no bounds, you know, it's like no boundaries here in Cancer, you know, and it's exalted.
Yeah. And Cancer is also deeply you know, I always think it's very personal too. Very, very, very personal, very sensitive. It makes me think that he's probably more sensitive to a lot of the ragging on or the dogging on that he gets than he might act like he is.
He's got to be like massively intuitive.
Yes, that Jupiter is retrograde.
Yeah, my God, in the 8th house, and he's got all that 12th house stuff too. It's like, guy's got to be pretty intuitive. Like, I want to hear more about this.
Another thing with him in communication, that retrograde Jupiter is it's gonna understand things and intuit things and not always know why.
Not able to articulate or put your finger on.
Exactly. It's difficult. It's easy for Jupiter retrograde people to do that, to understand the bigger picture. But when they're asked why, they can kind of lose their words.
Yeah.
And have a difficult time kind of knowing the logical, rational reasons why, being able to explain them. And with that Mercury in the 12th house, it feels like that the being able to explain might be slightly more difficult, right? Because it is in a more unconscious place. So I bet he is very, very intuitive, probably does understand a hell of a lot, but may not always know how to, like you said, articulate it.
Yeah. I can see that. Absolutely. You know, going back to that 12th house stellium, there's also something here about a theme, you know, when you see, especially leaders with these 12th house planets, there seems to be a theme of like overcoming with enemies or people who are against you. And I feel like he's probably like, I mean, he's probably had themes like that throughout life, but I think right now, especially with the election and, you know, what he's been through. I mean, when he got elected, the opponent or the other guy refused to say it was real, and well, we did video on that, insurrections and all this, and so it seems to be like that's kind of an enemy for him.
Yeah, it definitely, yeah.
You know, Obama doesn't have the stellium like this, but I'm going from memory, but I believe like Obama has his chart ruler in the 12th house, and he had to do that, like overcoming a lot of enemies and
he did. I think I want to say Baby Bush.
I think he does have 12th house sun.
Yeah. There can also be like, with maybe with the sun there, because I know like there does feel like there might be a reluctance to, not to leading, but to, kind of having the spotlight on you. It seemed like the same thing with Baby Bush too. Like,
Oh, remember he stumbled on his words a lot too. And
did a
yeah.
lot. A lot. Yeah.
And I'm not laughing at, okay. I get comments on videos that, some people think our laughing is insensitive. Me and Ellie cut up with each other. Okay. We're never laughing at people, things happening to them, or, yeah. So I just want to put that out there. If you're watching this one, I'm not laughing at Bush I just know like there were like calendars, like, with Bushisms, I think they called them.
Hey, that sounds like what I call my Ellieisms.
I have Brandyism. Yeah, like we totally relate, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I'm not making fun of me either. But there was I mean, everybody, people that were alive, but everybody remembers what that was like.
Yeah, let's be real. Like, it's funny sometimes.
Yeah.
You remember the word strategery? Strategy, like, anyway. I have Saturn squaring my Mercury. I fuck up words all the time. Like, and we just, anyway.
But I have a feel like he would be the sort of person that would probably laugh at it too.
Yeah.
But
anything else we want to pull out of Biden's natal chart real quick, or? I feel like I could stay on this one. There's a lot of interesting things about this chart, and
mm-hmm.
going through life and events that have happened, and there's definitely, we mentioned he lost a child in a car accident. I want to say the 70s, right? And then he lost his son to brain cancer a few years ago. And then his other son, Hunter Biden, that's in the news a lot right now. He's going through some legal troubles. So the area of children is interesting, that it goes back to the 12th house. There are struggles, there's loss, there's,
Yeah, and also the Uranus squaring the nodes too.
mm-hmm.
in the seventh, and I know the seventh house
is within, it's in a strong orb. It
is it makes me think of like shocking things within
unexpected.
Yeah, within close relationships. And I might even, I know the seventh house is generally thought of as like, romantic relationships or business partnerships. I do think sometimes you can see like parent-child relationships too. I think you can, because they're close one-on-one relationships. I don't mean that like a weird incestuous way either.
No,
they're
that makes sense for children who are maybe adults, right? Who are, adult with them, and that makes sense.
So it does seem like in those areas of life, there probably have been shocking things that he's needed to maybe adapt to, or
with Saturn sitting in that house too. It's pretty wide orb, but it's still an orb square as well with those nodes. Definitely difficulty.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So what do we want to go into next with Biden? So do we want to do solar arcs?
If that's where you want to go next, yeah.
Okay. And I want to say thanks to Ellie, who provided our solar arc. Let's start with 2020 and what was happening during that time. This is a 2020 election. And Ellie,
okay.
You are amazing with solar arcs. Take your reins on this and tell us what's going on here.
Okay, so
do I need to enlarge it?
Well, if you can't, no, actually no, because I need to be able to see the degrees. So leave it right where it is. Okay, so this was when the 2020 election happened. Solar arc Saturn, was it 29 degrees?
Yeah, that caught my eye first. Like, just right there on that 10th house, on the angular house, right?
Yes, and it's smack between like the node, or first Chiron and then the node. And this period of time also that Saturn, while it is a wide orbit, does it is a wide orb square, his natal Saturn with the nodal axis. It still feels rather karmic in this sense, making that solar arc Saturn feel rather karmic too. Not easy for him. I am almost wondering if he wanted to win.
Yeah, you know what my perception of this is? Like, I've always thought he took one for the team. Like,
yeah,
I have to step in and do something because it's a shit show. And I'm sorry, if you are a Trump fan, a Trumpy, you're not gonna like my video. You're probably not gonna like me. So I'm just saying, but I felt like that's what he was doing.
that's what this feels like to me too. Like he just, it was supposed to happen. He was supposed to, I put supposed to in quotes, right? Because we can do whatever the hell we want, but this was the time for him to do that, to step up in some way. But I really do think that there was a part of him that perhaps was hoping or wanting to not
be. Well, let's remember, and I believe it was 2016. He was asked if he was going to run, and he said no, because he was dealing with the grief of losing his son to cancer. And so he was like, no, I don't want to run. And it felt like the masses at the time wanted him to follow Obama. And so we know before, like 4 years prior, he was not wanting to do it.
Yeah, this really does feel more like a responsibility that he felt called to do more than a desire.
Yeah, I think so too.
Now that, let me see, Chiron is, the solar arc Chiron is too wide of an orb. Just for anybody watching this, I look at an orb of 1 degree applying and separating when I'm looking at it.
These are solar arcs. It's pretty tight.
Yes.
Right. Yeah.
You might start feeling the winds of this stuff 2 years out or 2 degrees out, but generally speaking, you want to focus on the year before it becomes exact with the natal planet and the year after, right? That 1 degree applying and separating.
That makes sense.
Let me see, the node is at, now that it's still kind of wide. That north node
Saturn.
Huh?
Are you talking about with the Saturn?
No, with the solar arc north node.
Oh, the solar arc north node. Sorry. Yeah.
It's coming upon that. It's coming up on that Mercury, but it's still kind of wide. It's still like 2 years.
Okay. The solar arc north node is at 19 degrees Scorpio.
And then that Mercury is at 2132. So it's still slightly wide. I'm not sure how much that comes into play here. But let me see. Where's that ascendant? Yeah, I think that was that Saturn was the main.
Yeah, it's pretty significant there.
Yes.
Yes, and I know with solar arcs, especially those angular houses, when they, what word do you want to say, get activated?
Yes. When they get lit up, when they're getting fucked.
And that matches lit. Yeah. Now let's talk about 2024 or what's going on now. This is where it's like, I want to make a prediction, but I want to be careful with prediction. But I mean, there's some things going on with him. And so I'm going to start with Zodiacal releasing here.
Okay.
Just to kind of show what's going on with him right now.
And then we'll go back to the one for the other 2 solar arcs.
Yeah, I think that would be good. So this is his Zodiacal releasing chart. Zodiacal releasing, oh my gosh, I want to have like such a great way to explain what it is. Basically, it's a timing technique that is taught within Hellenistic astrology. And it times out, in this case, we're doing Lot of Spirit, which has to do career, life path, just kind of
the things you will.
Yeah. And the zodiacal releasing will show when someone's in a peak period, like getting a lot of success, when they're working on things, when they're in what's called like a loosing of the bond, which is going back, changing plans. Okay, so right now, and if you ever want to watch a video on this, Chris Brennan has a I think it's called the Astrology podcast, where he does like a 3-hour podcast on zodiacal releasing that gives you a little general idea of how it works and how to calculate it. It's a long explanation, so I'm sorry I can't exactly how it works today because it would take hours. But basically, where Biden's at right now, he's in a Pisces period. Okay, this started April 19th, 2023. And this is a level 2. This is a loosing of the bond for Biden. And when individuals have these level 2 loosing of the bonds, things kind of change in their career, or they go back to doing something else. Like this can play out in a lot of ways. Just to give you some quick examples, like George Lucas, when he was, I think, around 18, 19, somewhere there, he hit a loosing of the bond. He was going to be a race car driver. He got in a horrible, horrible accident, almost killed him. And he decided, I can't race anymore because it's too dangerous. So I'm going to go back to film school. That loosing of the bond took him to film school. And then, we got Star Wars and all these like great movies he's done. So that's kind of a way it works. Al Gore, vice president during the Clinton years, he hit a loosing of the bond and went, oh my God, I'm terrible with history. I think he was a senator, went from that to being vice president. So there's some sort of like stepping up or going back, as a quick explanation.
Okay.
So with Biden, he's in a loosing of the bond. So something's going on here. Something is changing. This is a massive indication that he's likely a one-term president.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Possibly. Hindsight's 2020. We can see how this plays out, but this is not something I would expect for something to happen during a president in the first term and then getting elected for a second term and continuing.
Yeah.
Now, here's the thing with this. It's going on right now. It ends in April 2024. So it actually ends before election time.
Yeah. About 6, 7 months before. Yeah.
Now, little side information, the US and their natal chart also hitting a Pluto return with that retrograde that's been doing that. There's some things changing up, I think there's some things changing up. So what this looks like for Biden, I don't know. I can't tell you what this is, but something's going on with him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm
just going to put that out there. Do we want to look at 2024 solar arcs from here?
Yeah, I would first look at the one for March 6th.
Oh,
that I threw in there, because that was during that falls in that loosening of the bond period that you were just talking about.
It also falls, sorry, I don't mean to point at you.
The Hulu.
I believe it falls around Super Tuesday.
Oh shit. You might be right about that.
Okay, and I'm sorry, I didn't have this one on my desktop. Bear with me, I can have it within seconds here. You said March 6th.
Yeah, that's the date that I was fucking around with. I was fucking around with a bunch of dates, but that's the one that I kind of.
Ellie just fucks around.
That's pretty much what I do. All the time.
All right, let me see. Okay, I got it. Let me just get it up here where I can. Okay. Sorry, guys. Thanks for bearing with us. Take a drink of your coffee. It's a perfect chance to kind of take a breath. Okay, where is it now? I think this is it.
Yes.
All right. This is solar arcs for March 6th, 2024 falls within that zodiacal. It's like a month before it ends and around Super Tuesday.
Yes. Okay. So what I notice here is that 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 Chiron is right on that Mercury.
Yes, the Chiron's at 20 degrees Scorpio, as is his Mercury.
Yeah. And his midheaven is in Virgo.
Mhm.
His 10th house also has, you know, Virgo on the cusp. Oh, did I? Oh, damn
Okay,
it.
it's all right. I wanted to throw in another house system here. So
Did you? I was gonna say, because this is not whole signs. What the fuck?
okay, let's go. It's still, we're looking at conjunctions here. Do you like the whole sign one better?
What?
Do you like the whole sign chart better?
I'm really very flexible. I feel stupid because I totally thought that I had sent them all in whole sign, and I don't.
You probably did. It's probably me fucking
Well, you know, the midheaven, you know, that's like the deals with career, with the highest and most idealized version of yourself, who you want to be when you grow up, you know, all this shit. And having that ruler hit by that solar arc Chiron, it does feel like something I don't
I know
we're
trying to like be careful, right? Because like you want to be,
yeah.
you know.
Something I feel like something happens with him where there's a wounding, I feel like that.
Yeah.
And but there might also be a healing here too, right? Chiron can also be, you know, like if okay, let's just hypothetically, let's just throw this out there. Okay, let's just throw this out there. Just again, just hypothetical. Nobody take this as gospel here, okay?
Hypothetical.
But let's but let's say he just decided he didn't want to run.
Mhm.
Or he decided that he wanted to pass the torch to Harris.
Or he decided maybe he's like, yeah, I am getting older and I can't really fulfill the duties like I should. It could be all sorts of things.
Yeah. I mean, this could point to something along those lines. I mean, it could.
Great time to say, go to Ellie's channel because we're going to do Kamala Harris's chart and there's some things going on with her. And so this is going to be kind of tied together.
Yes. Yeah. There really is.
Yeah.
Which is,
so there's something happening with Biden at the same time something is happening with Kamala Harris.
Yeah. And while I do say these, I obviously these are just hypothetical things that could happen, right? There are things going on that make them feel like they may not be quite as hypothetical.
Yeah.
But we'll roll with the hypothetical idea just for, you know, for right now.
Yeah. Everything said by Brandy and Ellie are just their opinions and should not be considered as fact.
Yes. Yeah. But this does feel to me like something happens to him within the public sphere. So something happens. And was that, I also noticed that solar arc Pluto is about to change into Scorpio. That feels I mean it's still in Libra here, but as time goes on it will move into Scorpio. Feels like some sort of transformation.
Look, Biden he'll be, on election time, he'll be what, 80, just a couple weeks away from 82.
Yeah.
If he runs, if he gets reelected at inauguration, he'll be 82 years old. I mean, he's older. And
yeah, he is. And this could be literal. I mean, just to throw this out there so we're not being quite as vague. This could be transformation of him just transforming from being a public person to perhaps not being so public anymore.
Yeah.
All the way over to the most extreme, which is that he departs. But again, neither one of us are predicting that. It's just these are things that could.
Yeah, something could take him out of the public eye. Something could change, or he's in office. Something could change. Yeah, it can look like all sorts of things. I mean, death is one of them as well. And I'm not saying he's going to die or anything like that, but we're just saying this could look like a few different things, and something's going on though. Energy is changing for him.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is. It is. That's still too, okay. Yeah, I think that was, I'm pretty sure that was everything.
Did you want to go to the 2024 election?
Yeah.
Solar arc?
Yeah.
Okay. I want to use the one you provided just to make sure I did it right.
Yeah, there we go. There we go.
And is that, do you need me to enlarge it, or is that good?
No, that's good. I've got the and not, yeah, no, that's good.
This
That's
is
good.
election day 2024, provided that he's running and he's on the ticket. Or just what's going on anyway with him, right?
That Pluto has at this point moved into Scorpio. 032.
I have such an opinion about this.
Okay. Well then, yeah, I know I do too. I'm trying to be very tasteful with this, or as tasteful as I possibly can be. I don't know how tasteful it actually is, or tactful. You know, something that in this one, you have that moon, the solar arc moon coming up on that Jupiter.
Yeah.
In the 8th house.
Oh, we were just having a talk about this.
Yes. And you know that
by the way, the moon is 24 degrees Cancer, 17 minutes. If you can't see it, Jupiter is 25 degrees Cancer, 8 minutes. It's within minutes.
Yeah, it's, yeah. You know, this, you have that, you know, his Jupiter is his chart ruler. It's also the ruler of the 4th house. This does, okay, this does feel, and again, this could be a metaphorical death of sorts. It could be an actual death.
It could be an ending.
And yes, but there is some sort of there is some kind of ending here.
Yeah. And that's why I wanted to start with Zodiacal releasing. The loosing of the bond also indicating some sort of ending. You know, okay, yeah. I'm going from memory here, but let me give you an example of how this might look with someone in, I don't know if this guy, well, okay. The royal family.
Okay.
King Philip, I think he was still King I don't remember. I don't know all this stuff. But anyway, Queen Elizabeth's husband. Philip, if you remember, a few months before he passes away, I think it's within months, they put out a statement saying he was going to, I believe, kind of step back from the royal duty. I think, does this sound right? I kind of more retired.
Yeah, I think I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, there was something like that. Or maybe it's about a year before he passes. I don't know, something like that going on. But he was in a loosing of the bond when that happens. So there was an ending for him career-wise, kind of. Even though he still had the title, he was stepping back because he wasn't, you know, he was like 99. I mean, when he was old. Like,
yeah, which is like, you know, that is a metaphorical transformation, right?
Yes.
You know, yeah, so yeah.
I'm just saying what it could look like. We have, you know, some different things this could look like, but yeah.
There is something, it does feel like there is something coming to an end, coming to a close, transforming into something else. You know. Yeah. And I think that was the main.
We want to look at just his actual transits going on that day.
Sure, on election day?
Yeah. Sure. I believe I have it. I think I do.
Actually don't know if I've seen that one before.
I just pulled it right before we got it on air, where we recorded. This is just his chart with the actual transits of what's going on election day. It's not solar arc, it's just where does the transits in the sky line up with his chart. You know, he's had, when Saturn entered Pisces, it entered his 4th house too. There's something, that's another indication of some sort of endings. And, you know, you see this in people of all ages when they have Saturn going over the 4th house. Sometimes they move, sometimes they just changes happen in their life, and some things end and new things begin, or, you know, this looks like all different things as well. It's Scorpio season, so the sun is going over his 12th house.
Yeah, it's fucking that Mars.
Yes. Yeah. And here's the thing too. That Mars is the transiting Mars in Leo is starting to come into a conjunction with Pluto. Now this will happen every, what, 2.5 years or so.
Yeah.
But that can be a pretty significant transit to go through as well. But that's definitely got things going on.
Yeah, that Mars to Pluto, natal Pluto, and Pluto being one of the rulers of that 12th house, it does for him, it feels very important to, like, when that transit does happen every couple of years.
Yeah. It's also opposing you know, Pluto in the sky by a degree.
Yeah.
Woo!
Yeah.
This guy, you know, I don't know what I want to say here. If, like, you know, he's able to keep going, and let's say the zodiacal releasing is indicating something else, and he runs and he gets elected again, it's gonna be tough. It's gonna be tough for this guy.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
So there you have it. This is just some things about Biden that we see going on. Please go to Ellie's channel because we're going to discuss Kamala Harris. It's like another piece of the puzzle.
Yeah, because I mean, they well, I mean, I figured they're right. I mean, I can't see him running with anybody else. So, you know, they fit together.
And we might share a little bit more opinions about what's happening for her. So
yeah, which might fill in some of the anything that you know, because we're trying to be, you know,
responsible, tactful. You know, everyone has their opinions, they just do, but, you know, it doesn't mean you should air it out. And like I said, nothing that we say is fact. You know, we'll have to wait and see what happens. We might come back and do a video in a couple of years to say, okay, here's what we saw going on, here's what happened. So I don't know, stay tuned.
Yeah, that would actually be kind of cool to do.
Awesome. Well, Ellie, please tell everyone where they can find you. I know they're getting ready to go to your channel, so they'll find you there. But tell them where they can find you for readings and all sorts of stuff.
You can find me for a reading at SaturnSeason.com, on Instagram at Saturn Season Astrology, and the YouTube channel, just throw that out there, is Let's Ask with Astrology. Yeah. And where can you be found?
Where I can be found? Well, I can be found at Brandy Burrow Astrology.com, where I provide tarot card readings, astrology, mediumship readings. I do a little of everything. Make sure you subscribe to the channel, to Ellie's channel. Give us a like so that we know to continue making these for you guys. And we usually do forensic astrology. This is a little natal event stuff. So let us know if you're liking this. It's a little different. So, all right. Thank you, Ellie. And we'll go see you on your channel.